Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is the Preacha Main podcast with Jamal Brown. And listeners, y'all know usually it just be me talking for 10, 15, 20, depending on what I'm talking about. But I actually said last year, I said I was going to actually get some more guests, get some guests on here, chop it up, even about some previous stuff I've talked about, or just something new. You know what I'm saying? Just having conversations. This is the first official one. We got a special guest coming to the cave that's in the cave, and we was talking previously before it got on camera, and you know I've been seeing him a lot on my feed on social media, Facebook. He's like all around, like he always moving. You know what I mean? Always moving, and we have some mutual acquaintances, mutual friends, mutual people, associations, and everything. And I just thought it would be real dope to have him on to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? I know he has some stuff coming up, and just chop it up. You know what I'm saying? And so I have Mr. Pastor Terrell Monger in the building.
Yes,
What's going on, sir?
Man, it is all good. I'm glad to be here, ready for a conversation, see if we can move something.
Let's see if we can move some. Yeah, man. Like we talked before. Like I've been seeing you. We said Titan. I know Titan, Young Titan. He's been doing music and stuff for a while. I think the first time I saw you was a music video back in the day. And actually, I think Irk was on there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Grown folk business.
Grown for a bit, like in a ring, fighting ring.
Oh, no, that was Taking
it
Back the Streets right there. Yeah,
Okay, Taking Back the Streets.
First one.
Okay. I'm thinking of it was like a ring.
Yep.
And boxing and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of them. It ain't just been one.
Yeah.
But I know it's been, that, and then, you had a church, and, it's just been a lot. And I'm like, dude, you seem like a real cool dude. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, looking from on social media, it's like, I mean, just to be honest, everybody's a professional stalker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a degree when you look at it, because it's like you don't really know nobody.
Right.
But I mean, truth be told, you can learn certain people on their social media.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it ain't like it's, hey, it's just social media. People kind of sometimes kind of push it off like, oh, this is just social media.
Right.
It ain't the real me. But I'm like,
yeah,
you can tell a lot. You know what I'm saying? With kind of on some people's pages, their humor, their, affiliations, and how they think about certain things. You know what I mean? So I get it. You know what I mean? So it's, but I saw you on there. And so, everybody that's believing in Jesus and stuff have, you got discernment. You know what I'm saying? Or should have discernment. Or you got to tap into that discernment.
Right.
And so, I was like, yeah. Then I think I asked Titan a couple questions or two, and, he rave about you. You know what I mean? So
awesome. I'll make sure I pay him.
Make sure you pay him. But yeah, it's like, and I've been seeing, I know you have a marriage conference and stuff coming up.
Yeah.
But before we do that, man, I really just want to get into your background, like where you're from. Are you from here? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep, I am born and raised right here in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Come from a long line of preachers and pastors and ministers and deacons, and I grew up in the church, but the church lost me. The church lost me because I saw everything going on behind the scenes. I saw people one way in the church, different way outside of the church, so it kind of skewed my view of what church really was. I always was a pretty decent kid. I didn't get into a lot of trouble, but of course with the community I was in, and my dad was one of the biggest drug dealers in the city, and my mama was a alcoholic who, after my dad went to jail, she couldn't handle it, and she had a nervous breakdown and, went into a mental institution. And so basically for a couple of years, basically was living from house to house to house with family members and all of that. So this at the age of like 11 or 12. And so, but my uncle was a DJ. He used to DJ parties.
DJ parties, okay.
Yeah, and so I was this little nerd, invisible, nobody. All my brothers was the popular people in the community, the Debos of the community, if you will. But I was the total opposite. Yeah. And I used to go to the parties with my uncle, man. And so when he got through with his parties, he'll set his stuff at the house. And while everybody's at work or wherever, I'm listening to all the records. I'm going through, Fat Boys, Houdini, Run DMC, Stetson Sonic, going through all of that.
Yep.
And man, I messed around and stumbled across this EP, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, The Show.
Wow, yeah.
And on the flip side, Lottie Dottie.
Yeah.
Lottie Dottie changed my life, man.
Tell it.
And so I guess my uncle was paying attention. I didn't know. He was also the coach of the track team, so he was cool. Everybody loved him, all of that. But, I was on the track team, but I was still a nobody. So I sat in the front of the bus. All the cool kids was at the back of the bus.
Yeah.
And so this is a Friday, and all the cool kids at the back of the bus and everything. And they started talking about this Dougie Fresh that just came out. And my uncle was like, well, my nephew know Lottie Dottie. And he called me to the back of the bus. Man, my heart dropped. Dude started beatboxing. I did Lottie Dottie on the school bus. Whole bus went crazy. So this was a Friday. The track meet was on Friday. I get back to school Monday. I'm the most popular dude in school. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I had been listening to rap so much where people came out and they was like, well, but that's somebody else's rap. Do your own. So at that point, I started freestyling. Killed it. So I become a neighborhood legend, just for rapping over Riverside. I went to Riverside, Riverview Elementary School. That's right there in Riverside of South Memphis. So that's when I went from this invisible nerd, nobody, to the most popular person in the community overnight. So rap saved my life.
Okay, so now, I'm 41. Mm-hmm. So how old are
I'm 52.
You're 52.
Yeah.
So you was, so we talking like 80s?
Yeah, we talking about, it all started 82, 83.
Yep.
82, 83. So by the time 84 hit, I was that dude. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talking, in Memphis here, and especially like hip hop and everything else.
Yeah.
So you went from, just kind of being the dude around the way,
yeah,
to being like that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As far as, kind of known for like freestyle or
freestyle, everything. I mean, my biggest moment was they had this big contest, man. It was going to get who gets to open up, who was coming to town. Some big rapper was coming to town. I can't even remember who it was, but they had a contest. The Barcades had a contest at the Crystal Palace. And whoever won the rap contest was going to get to open up for the artists who came through. I killed it. But guess who was also in the contest?
Who's that?
James Alexander's son, Phelan. Jazzy Faye.
Yep. Because he is from...
He's from Memphis.
He is from Memphis, yeah.
And so Phelan was in the contest too, but I killed it.
Yeah.
I killed it. And so the crowd said I won, but Phelan was his son, so they let him open up.
Right.
So what they did, they gave me free tickets and a backstage pass. And so free tickets and a backstage pass. Mm-hmm. And I met the guy who actually opened up the door for 8Ball and MJG and all those guys. Terry Turner. Matter of fact, Terry Turner became Freakmaster. And you
That's
might
crazy.
not remember the song,
Nah.
Give Me What You Got for a Pork Chop.
Yeah,
that's Freakmaster.
That's him. Okay.
He ended up being my manager. So right in the mix where you had 8Ball, MJG, Tila, Gangsta Pat, all the old school rappers back in the day, I'm in the midst. You know what I mean?
So you in the whole crew.
The whole,
before, like, just for me, like when I'm 41, so when I go back to Memphis hip hop, that's who I think of. Like those, was it, I'm thinking Spanish Fly.
Spanish Fly used to play my stuff at Club No Name.
Okay.
You know, Raider J was still in the mix.
Raider J.
You know, Spanish I mean, what's your other guy? DJ Hound. DJ Hound
DJ
was
Hound.
running the industry at the time because that's when Stan Bell was on K97. He was
Yep.
running the airways. You had him on K97. You had Jackson Brown on 101, and they used to battle. Well, both of them were the first one to play my songs on the radio.
Oh snap! Okay,
Yeah.
like I knew you were kind of had a music type of background.
Yeah.
Like, but I thought it was more like you knew people association, but you was in the
I
thick.
was in it, and I'm gonna tell you how
That's
much of
crazy.
the thick I was in it. Gangsta Pat was the first rapper that came out of Memphis that was like big. He was signed to Ichiban Records. Reginald Boylan put him on, so we used to record at Reginald Boylan studio. And matter of fact, DJ Paul was in Gangsta Pat group Legion of Doom. He wasn't even him and Juicy J hadn't even met yet. He was just him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so the person who I ended up connecting with was Tila. The one who put out the song "Girls in the Club Showing Love."
Yep.
Okay. Me and Tila used to rap together.
Yeah.
The demo that he sent to Suave House after A-Ball and MJG got signed was me and him on that together. But it was during that time, man. Cause the rap I was doing, I'm from the old school before you got into the gangster and talking bad about women. So I used to kick like I was on a Public Enemy tip, I was on a knowledge tip, or
Saying something.
Yeah, that's the tip I was on. So that's why I earned my chops. Said that's how people knew me, and but I messed around and made a song called, we can't say it on here, but women got to give it up.
Right.
It just wasn't women.
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
And it was because my dad was a pimp, man, and so I was tapping into
Like a real pimp.
Yeah, my dad was a real pimp.
Like a real pimp.
Like 10 women in the house, green Cadillac,
Right.
Yeah, he was a real pimp.
Yeah.
He was a real pimp.
Okay.
And so I'm kicking that knowledge in this song.
Yeah.
And out of all the stuff I've been doing, that's the one everybody went crazy over. That's the one everybody was just on. And it made me so mad. I was like, all this knowledge I'm kicking, and y'all like
want that.
this.
Yeah.
And that was, and so everybody loving it. And that's the song. My uncle was my pastor. My mama was a minister by this time. And so the most popular song I got, I can't even play it for my uncle. I can't even play it for my mama. And so at that point, I felt like God called me, and I quit. I quit. I walked away. And so when Tila signed the deal with Suave House, when they had just had the demo, they hadn't even signed yet, but I walked away and quit. And so when Tila signed the deal, next thing you know, he on BT, he on MTV, and I'm watching all my boys blow up the spot. DJ Paul and them blew up by now. Tila them blew up. A-Ball and them. Now, these are people I used to travel and do shows with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
And so now all my partners just on TV killing it, and I done walked away from rap.
Now, okay, now that's interesting. So, now how old were you when you actually made that decision?
I was like, I'm going to say 19 or 20. It was those early years. I couldn't be no more than 22. It was somewhere up in there. Because I first met Terry Turner when I was 19. So I was probably about 22 at this time.
22. Okay.
I was probably about 22 at this time. And I walked away. I felt God's call that's not who I needed to be identified as. So, but as a young man, you can understand my confusion when all my boys done blew up. And I'm like, okay, God, you done told me to walk away from this stuff. What's next for me?
Yeah.
And so, but by this time, through a series of events, I don't want to make this story too long. I ended up meeting a lady on a plane. And the lady on the plane was nice to me. I was nice to her. My mama told me respect everybody. And when the plane landed, she asked me what I do for a living. I told her I work at a configuration center. She said, "Is that computers?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am, that's computers." She said, "I'm going to have to tell my boss about you." And so I ain't think nothing of it. I gave her my phone number. 2 weeks later, her boss was the CEO of Equifax in Atlanta. He calls me. Flies me into Atlanta, offered me a job, gave me a $20,000 signing bonus $5,000 relocation fee.
20,000?
Yeah, 20,000.
And what year is this?
I'm young.
Yeah.
I'm young. This is like, by the time this happened, I already seen my boys on TV. I'm like 26, 27 at the time. This was 1998, somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot. 20?
$20,000 signing, but I'm a young man.
Yeah,
$20,000. They were paying me $70,000 a year. Gave me $20,000 signing bonus, $5,000 relocation fee. But I'm telling this story to see. It showed me why God wanted me to walk away from rap. So now I'm a developer in Atlanta, just doing well. So I hadn't bought this big house. My family came down to visit me. They was like, I went and bought Elvis Presley mansion, but it wasn't that big. They were exaggerating. Got this big house. I'm living good. I'm in Atlanta. I get a call. I don't want to mention his name, but one of the rappers that I just mentioned called me and was like, "Hey T, I ran into some hard times. I need you to come get me, man." He was getting put out of his apartment. I went and bought a U-Haul, rented a U-Haul, helped him move out his furniture and storage, paid up his hotel room for a week. And that's when God showed me. Because I had just saw his video on BET. And that night he called me. And so that's when God was showing me that just because it looked like success doesn't mean that's what it is. And that's when I knew he was saving me from something.
Yeah, now, it's a lot, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot to unpack with that, but it's like, we had on my presidential executive, we had a guest on there one time, Andrew Jackson. He used to be with the Fannie Clark Singers before, and a lot of other, he did a lot of worldly tours and stuff like that. And so, same question is like, well, you were like super young too, because I'm trying to put how, in my mind, what I was thinking about when I was 20, 22 years old. Yeah. And, you know, I was telling you, I grew up as a preacher's kid, you know what I mean? And so, for me, it was like, I can put it into better words now. It felt like an arranged marriage, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like growing up in a Christian household and stuff of that nature. Like you just knew Christianese, you knew all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you know, you still doing your thing and doing stuff of that nature. And, you know, that takes a lot for somebody as young as you were to, because it's one thing to know it inside of you, to feel God, but then it's another thing to actually do it.
And I missed a part when I was 9 years old. That's when my mom first went through her situation when she had the nervous breakdown. I was really young then. The first nervous breakdown, she kind of survived that. The second one is the one she had to go into the mental institution. But I remember when she had that first nervous breakdown, my dad in jail, I remember walking up the driveway, and what triggered it, the little girl across the street, that was my best friend. Beautiful little girl, lived across the street from us. And these boys from Chicago came down to Memphis, and she didn't want to hang with me no more. She wanted to hang with the bad boys from Chicago. And so my heart was broken that she wanted to play with them first. But what really got me, they took over in the woods and raped her. And so I'm like 9, and I'm walking up my driveway. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I remember like it was yesterday. I remember saying, God, I can't do this. My mind is too clean for this world. I'm 9. What am I saying? I can't do what?
Yeah.
What am I saying I can't do? What am I comparing to say my mind is too clean for this world? But that's how it let me know I was different.
Yep.
I was different. I'm the same dude that when I was in high school, ride with my boys, everybody smoking weed, drinking, and all of that. I'm smoking with them. I'm drinking with them. I'm in the back seat talking about, man, I bet God looking at us right now, man. I wonder what he thinking. And they like, man, you blowing our high, man. Go on with that. Right. So there was a level of consciousness there that was different, even though I didn't know what it was. And so, and you think about it, from 9 to 18. So by the time I got to 22 and I walked away, it made sense because I already had some type of relationship where I heard his voice before then.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep, I do.
Even though I didn't know what it was,
What it
I
was.
can't say Jesus sat on the foot of my bed. I can't say that, but it was some type of understanding that my life had a greater purpose. Yeah.
Like, even for me, like when I went to TSU, I don't know if I told you, I went to Tennessee State University. So when I got there freshman year, it was 26-1, women to men,
Yeah.
and stuff of that nature. So, you have your time, but even through all the stuff I went through, it was like certain stuff I just couldn't do.
Yeah.
Like I tried to, like it's some of the stuff is hard to explain. So I kind of resonate with you when you're saying stuff of that nature. Like for me, it wasn't even it was more so my dad's voice.
Yeah.
I told
Right.
my dad. I told you his voice so deep and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you hear, you know what I'm saying. But certain things that I wanted to do, and that I had the opportunity to do, whether that's women or you know what I'm saying, certain drugs. Like I did certain, stuff, but none of like the real hard stuff. It was just like, and I tried to do it. I remember one time I was with this young lady, like bad, like fine, like you know what I'm saying, but I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But I never had a problem before. Like,
Right.
I did the whole thing. Wait, man, I went to the car, did whatever, popped something, you know what I'm saying? Did something like that. It was like certain stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like, bruh, like, why can't I do what, some of my other peers are doing without thinking twice about it?
I get it.
You know what I mean? So it was, yeah, man. So I really got what you were saying with that. So you're that young doing that, and you see all your peers going live or being on Rap City or whatever, Tig in the basement.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
They killing it.
Yeah, they in that and doing that. And so, but now this was before you got the job in Atlanta when you seeing all this, right?
No, well, it happened before I went to Atlanta.
Okay.
But by the time I got to Atlanta, A-Ball MGG was as big as Outkast. And Tila was with that girls in the club.
Yep, that was over. Yeah, that blew up.
That was like the biggest thing going.
Yep.
And so, and by that time, Tear the Club Up, Thugs, 666 was popping. So all the people I used to run with are killing the airways. And so, but God put on my heart, after that incident I told you about, God put on my heart to go buy some music equipment. And I'll never forget, I bought a Alesis keyboard. I bought a computer and put Cakewalk on it. And I bought a microphone, and I MIDI'd it all up, set it up in my basement, and didn't do nothing with it. And then one day in the middle of the night, something just said, go downstairs. And I went downstairs, and I started writing gospel songs. So I'm in Atlanta, and I became a writer for gospel artists. So I'm playing, I'm writing songs. I never played in my life, but I'm making my own tracks, everything. And then I messed around and wrote a song for myself called Let Me Live. And it was like a nice Marvin Gaye, let me live. It's for the day and I'll be fine. I just can't give a pass of my future off my mind, and I want to live. And the song was deliverance for me, man.
Yeah.
It was like life had a purpose. And so I had this song, and I made it, and I let nobody hear it. But back then, I used to play Madden all the time. I was whooping folk up. And so in my basement, I had the big screen TV. This before they had the flat screen. I had the big old fat TV in my basement with the video game. And one of my boys was like, man, what you keep in that room back there? And I was like, nothing. He said, man, what you got over there? I showed him my music equipment. Yeah. He said, oh, you got a studio in here. He said, let me hear something. But I was like, nah. I let him hear the song.
Yeah.
They went crazy. They're like, what are you doing with this, man? And so
They went crazy over the song?
Over the song.
Okay.
And I was like, what you talking about? He was like, man, you need to let somebody hear that. I was like, man, y'all quit playing. So it's these group of guys that were trying to start a gospel group. And so he let them hear the song. And I was telling them, this type of stuff to do. I could write a song for y'all. But I ended up being in the gospel group. So I'm traveling with a gospel group singing. And a song that I wrote was called One Accord. And
Wow.
what sparked the song
Wow.
was R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly.
Yep.
And I wrote a song. The song was called One Accord. I felt like God gave me that song personally. It was so simple. One conception, one birth, one vision, one work. And it was like, everybody under the sound of my voice, if you all love the Lord, do you not know the power we'll have if we get on one accord? But anyway, so we ended up recording that song. Now I'm killing it. We opening up for Marvin Sapp. We opening up for Dottie Peoples. That's why I met Kurt Carr. Before Kurt Carr got big, we were opening up for Kurt Carr and the Singers, right? So I'm like this dude who was rapping, and I'm a gospel artist singing in a gospel group. But God tricked me. Since I wrote all the songs, I would introduce them before they came on. And we went to a white church. It was a white church, like 3,000 people in there. We singing, standing ovation and all of that. So the pastor comes and he's like, can you come back to our church Sunday? And I was like, well, let me get with the rest of the guys and see if he said, no, I want you to come preach at my church. And I was like, I don't do that.
Right.
I don't preach.
What you mean? Yeah.
And he was like, just come tell them what you just told us. God set me up, man. That was my first time preaching, and it was part motivational speaker, part comedian, part,
Yeah.
It was a type of preaching that didn't happen in Memphis. It wasn't a typical tune up at the end. It was just a conversation.
Yeah.
And it opened the doors. Next, I'm going speaking at all these churches in Atlanta and everything. And I think the reason God sent me to Atlanta to refine me, to be comfortable with who I am. And I feel like I had to imitate the typical preaching that was in Memphis. So from there, I started doing youth events, man. I started doing 3-on-3 basketball tournament, video game tournament, until one day they wrote an article about me in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution about this young guy who was doing street ministry. But that's not what I was doing. I was just trying to create a positive environment for youth. And that's how I ended up getting into preaching.
Now, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, to me, it even seemed, you mentioned it, like, from you moving to Atlanta, like, or even how it even happened, God placed you in Atlanta to almost get you away from your environment, because now, you know what I'm saying, if you actually stayed in Memphis and you seeing all your peers and stuff doing this, like, you had to, it's almost like you had to go.
Yep.
In order to, you say, like a refinement period, but really just even mentally to put you in a different mental space and get you in a whole different space and environment. Because Atlanta and Memphis, although we got some similarities, it's a different vibe in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
And I even saw what the difference was between Memphis and Atlanta. And I don't know if it was God that showed me, but it became so clear to me what happened in Atlanta.
Tell me.
In Atlanta, only 25% of the people in Atlanta are from Atlanta.
Yep.
They're people coming from all over.
Yep.
Look, trying to be successful. They don't know what the next big thing is. So whatever looks like the next big thing, they're jumping on it. So here I am coming with these new ideas. Nobody is questioning it. They was like, this might be it. So they put a battery in my back. Let's go. You know what I mean? And so all my crazy ideas, they're just following me. But in Memphis, 95% of people in Memphis have never left Memphis. So if they see you do something new, they going to say, what make you think you can do it if I've never done it?
Right.
And so what it does, it robs you of your self-esteem. When I told my ideas to the people in Atlanta, they eyes lit up. Yeah. When I told my ideas to the people in Memphis, they was like, that ain't going to work.
They shut it down.
And so what going to Atlanta did, it gave me confidence. It showed me the difference between a hopeful people and a skeptical people. And so now I know how to deal with skeptical people. Stop talking to them.
Man.
Stop talking, because they will rob you of your dream.
Yeah.
You'll be excited, and then after you get through talking to them, you say, well, maybe it won't work.
Maybe not.
Ain't no wrong with me. Something wrong with y'all.
Yeah.
Give me a group of people that believe something. We could turn this city upside down. That's how I met a Titan. That's how I met a Corey. I connect with dreamers.
Yeah, man.
Skeptical people, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm not gonna let you rob me of my self-esteem. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, you said a lot in that because some people are in denial of that difference
Yeah.
of between even Memphis or even Atlanta. But if you're around, like if you're in Memphis and you're around the same amount of group of people and they say around the same type of stuff, your mentality
Yeah.
will shut down, just as the word said, as a man thinketh, so is he.
That's right.
So if you're around all this negativity, not even well, yes, negativity, but if I have an idea, be like, man, I wanna start this podcast, but this was in 2005, a podcast.
And they'll say, why? Everybody start a podcast. Why you gonna do one? What make you think you? And you'll walk away thinking, but then you'll come sit in front of somebody like me, and I tell you, dude, ain't nobody doing this. A preacher man podcast. You better go do it. And
Yeah.
just that conversation will. What the Bible say? How can two walk together unless they agree? You need some agreement in the earth, man. He said, let it be confirmed by 2 or 3. If 2 of you can agree on anything, it'll be done in the heavens. But if ain't nobody agreeing with you, you'll feel like you ain't supposed to do it. You'll feel like so. And check this out. They don't even know they're doing it to you.
They don't.
And then when you don't do it, 10 years will pass by, and they'll say, man, remember that preacher, man, idea you had? Why you didn't do it? And you be want to say, Negro, you told me I didn't do it.
You know what? Remember we was at the coffee shop
Right.
and I brought it up? Nigga, you said I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So what you mean? Dog.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, yeah, man, that's in a nutshell because, once you get around like-minded people and you know what I mean, you start sputtering ideas and doing stuff of that nature,
Yeah.
it's infectious.
Yeah.
Or somebody I've been told before, like, or even with your spouse or marriage, or, you know what I'm saying, like you want somebody to, inspire you as well. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously you're admiring you, you know what I mean? So it's like y'all gotta feed off each other. Be like, I'll get this idea. Be like, oh well, I don't necessarily know. Be like, but if you put that battery in somebody's back, hey, you need to go and do that.
That's
like,
what
I
I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's powerful, dog.
And that's the basis of my church. One thing I tell people, new members class or whatever, I want an environment where it's safe to fail.
Yeah.
It's safe to fail because if you fail, you find out a way that it didn't work. Now let's try it again.
Yep.
And if you talk to Titan or any of the guys that run with me, man, I ain't scared to fail.
Yeah.
I ain't scared because
That's good.
That one victory. I named my youth organization One Glory.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I named it One Glory, one good win can make up for all the tough losses.
Man.
One good win.
Man, you ain't lying. That's all it take. Like, bro, like, dude, like now, it makes a lot of sense now with with Titan because that's what he do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he has an idea or anything, whatever, if it works or if it not, he gonna try it.
Let me tell you something about Titan. When I met him, you remember the video you said you saw with us at the boxing gym?
Yep.
I ran into Titan. He wasn't a member of our church. We barely even knew each other. Mm-hmm. But I told him I'd seen him on some stuff. I said, man, I got this idea. And the idea was I'm a trainer. And I was using like from Rocky. I'm a trainer.
That's my movie right there.
Y'all the boxers.
Yeah.
And I just want y'all to verse. And I said, the hook just gonna go, we're taking it back. Every single thing that you stole, we're taking it back. You know, the whole hook. And I said, I'm gonna do the hook, y'all do the verses. So they came to the studio, we did it, we recorded, and I said, y'all meet me at this boxing gym out on Germantown Road. And so they get there, we got the crowd of people there, and Titan said, man, I can't believe this. 1 minute you talking about it, next minute you doing it. And that did something to him mentally. He was so used to people just talking. Now, if I say it,
right,
we finna try. I can't guarantee it's gonna work.
Correct. Right. We gonna do that.
But we gonna do it.
And
when they saw the final product of that video, man, it just blew their mind. And
hard, yeah.
And so Irk and Titan, everything I've done, I've included them.
Yeah, man.
Every single thing I done, you know, because you got to have some crazy.
Yep.
Think about how Jesus chose his disciples. He didn't go choose them out of the temple.
Uh-huh.
He chose some people who had enough vision to start their own fishing company.
Yep.
Enough vision to actually be a tax collector. People who try some stuff. Let me speak in your language. Hey, if you come with me, I'm gonna show you how to fish for men. Really? Word? Let's go.
Right.
So you got to have some people around you crazy enough to believe the impossible that can struggle and fail together without turning on you.
Man, look, and I'm learning this now, man. Like I said, I'm 41, but I'm learning. I'm progressing now because before, I don't know if I was too churched or too, you know what I mean, whatever. Like it's like you feel, hey, or sometimes it may be God, it may not be God, but you don't know unless you go ahead and try it out. And then as you go, then you may get a word, or you may get saying somebody helping you out or supporting you or whatever like that. But then you kind of be afraid of starting stuff or doing something because what if it fail, or what if what I'm saying, they're gonna be like, oh, AJB, what kind of what happened with this, what happened with that, and so that can that can almost be a burden to you.
It could do what the Bible says. The Bible says we have to be careful not to let the cares of this world choke the fruit out of us. And we know Jesus is Jesus, but there was a maturation process to Jesus, right?
Right.
Think about when his mama came to him in a wedding party and said, Jesus, they done ran out of wine.
Yep.
What was his response? What they got to do with me?
Yeah.
He said, well, what they got to do with me? Jesus was so used to hiding his gift, he didn't know when it was time to use it. So she put him on the spot. Whatever he say, do it. I don't know what he going to say, but whatever he say, do it.
Yeah.
Okay, go get me some buckets of water. You hear that?
Right.
Go get me some buckets of water. And listen, after he did it, guess what the Bible says? And the fame of Jesus spread abroad.
Yep. Kept going.
Nobody knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But he made the best decision he could at that moment. And in the oddest of places, his ministry started.
That's good.
Yeah, it didn't happen at the altar.
Yeah.
It didn't happen at a revival.
Yeah.
At the oddest of places, I chose to be obedient in this moment around a group of people that believe in me. Okay, let's try something. Go get me some buckets. Okay. This the best wine I ever had. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're supposed to do. Why you think Jesus told the disciples, listen, don't worry about what you're going to say. I'm going to give it to you. Because that's what happened to me. Jesus was saying, it happened to me like this. So I'm telling you, if your heart is pure and you're doing the right thing, you might not even know he going to give it to you. Don't think the moment is ever too big for you. Because I'm going to make the moment so big that I'm going to tell everybody, okay, whatever JB say, do it. And you got to hear him in that moment and say, I'm scared, but go get some buckets. We finna see what's going to happen here.
and that's like, to me, for what it sounds what you're saying, like that's the gray area. Yeah. We don't like to be in gray areas. Yeah. That's uncomfortable to be in a gray area to where it's like, well, I don't know, but it's like people ask, "Oh, what did the Lord tell you to do?" You're like, I don't know. But what's your response? Like I don't know, and I've always been caught up in that too. It's like in that gray area, it's like I don't know.
Can I tell you what it looked like?
Go ahead.
Check this out. We hate to be in positions where we have to trust God. Because listen, we scared we gonna make God look bad. God, like you can't make me look bad.
Yeah.
Quit thinking that. Listen, the difference between the mama and the daddy, okay? When Mary came, she said, watch my son. Watch what he about to do. Whatever he say, do it.
Yeah.
Mary, the woman, was impressed in what he does. But when his father opened up the sky when he got baptized, he said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Before he performed a miracle, before he walked on water, before he raised the dead, whatever he do, that's my son. If he struggle, that's my son. If he fail, that's my son. If he get into a bad spot and want to change his mind, I trust him enough to say, Nevertheless, not my will but yours. That's my son.
Mm.
You gotta get the affirmation from your daddy that whether I fail, whether I look like a fool, whether people laugh at me, I'm a son. I got the power of my daddy working in me.
Man, you talking that talk because that's the like you got me fired up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying within that, but that's the tough part because unless you have people around you that's well, I want to say validate or verify, however you want to call it. You know what I mean? And but you having these other stuff in the background, or maybe it's from your parents.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it's from your cousin, maybe it's from people close to you. But if you don't have that battery, it's like you always gonna second guess yourself. You always gonna be like, well, maybe I didn't hear what I thought I did.
Why did he tell Abraham, leave your folk?
Yep, exactly.
Abraham, what I'm about to do with you, them folk ain't seen nothing like this.
Yep.
So I need you to go ahead and get all your stuff, get away from around there, and go to a place that I'm going to show you, because you can't hear me here. Yep. If I told you who you about to be right here, they going to talk that out of you. So he was like, I got to get their voice out of your ear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And even... I would preach this one day, but people might get upset. But even when he got to the mountain where he had to go sacrifice his son, you know what he told his attendants? He said, hey, I'm about to go up this mountain. Y'all stay with the asses.
Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to tell people, y'all stay with the asses. I got stuff to do.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah, and that's how the journey is. But I do tell you this, man, because you're a dreamer. You're a dreamer. Dreamers understand the dreams in others. That's why Joseph was different. Why did Joseph have the ability to interpret the dreams of the people in the prison? Because he was a dreamer himself.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Yeah.
He could see their dreams, even though at the time it seemed like his dream was failing. My dream put me in a pit. My dream made me a slave. My dream put me in a prison. But I still believe in you, Butler. Let me tell you what's going to happen with you. I still believe in you, Baker. Let me tell you what's going to happen with you. And his ability to believe in the dreams of others wouldn't let his dream die. That's why you got to be around other dreamers and not be jealous. See,
that's the part right there.
Yeah,
that's the
Joseph
part right
was
there.
Like, I believe in you enough that even though I'm failing, I'm gonna help you succeed. That's Joseph.
Yeah.
The power of Joseph wasn't what happened at the end. It's how he handled his middle. Everything is failing for me, but I still see you. That's the power of Joseph.
Man, look. Woo. You ain't lying. Like I'm just musing on all this that you even saying, because some of the stuff I haven't looked at it as you articulating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you dead on, man. And so even the stuff that you told me, your life looks that way. The way you are, you know, the way you're saying it. You're not saying it because you've experienced it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So because everything that's seen that happened to you, from growing up how you grew up, and then then becoming this big deal as far as with rapping and music and stuff of that nature, and then having this call send you to Atlanta, 20 stacks, 5 stack, relocation fee, 70,000 a year, going to Atlanta, and then just that's wild because man, it's like you definitely a dreamer, because not only the thing is, God talks all the time.
Yes.
He talks to a lot of people all the time. But the thing is, I heard it, but the difference is with you seem like you just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel I need to go get this equipment. I'll get this, music equipment, even though I don't do that anymore. Like, if you think like, some people be like, okay, I got that thought. I've heard that, but I'm not, what am I do with this?
Yeah.
Instead of pushing it off, you like, let me go and do this. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Right.
I don't know why I'm getting this equipment. I'm not, getting back in this lane where I was years back.
Yeah.
But let me just go and get this stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but that's the difference because most people I get this stuff, okay, but you may not use it for a few months.
That's right.
A months down the line. So it's just sitting there. So now, carnally, you thinking, I just wasted my money. I'm not using this stuff because you're not, you know what I'm saying, in that obedient or even unction mind frame to where, okay, I had this thought. I don't know why I had this thought. But let me just go get this equipment. I don't know why, but let me just do it. Like, yeah, that's very encouraging. You know what I'm saying? To see something like I never knew the backstory of you, and then obviously with your ministry, you said One Accord.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, that's your name of the church. You know what I'm saying? That's the name of the church.
And I had no idea it was coming. I had no idea it was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but even like what you're saying, even we have to change how we see God so we can change how we see failure, right?
Right.
If the Bible will tell you a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years is like a day, why do we keep putting our little stopwatch on God? What we're doing right now with the Preacher Man podcast, what are we practicing? What are we practicing? What I've set aside a day for you, but I'm preparing you for what you've been praying for. Because if I throw you out there too soon, you might embarrass yourself and want to give up.
Yeah.
So I'm letting you practice now. So when the time comes, you're going to put the mic in front of you and you're going to jump in. That's how God works. Think about it. If God was concerned about just moments, why would he take the father of many nations, Abraham, and reference himself as the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Because I'm a generational God. I'll speak something today and won't bring it to pass until 30 years from now. Can you trust me that long?
Man.
Can you trust me that long?
Right.
And see, most people stop trusting God and blame God. And he said the promise is what? For those who endure to the end.
Yeah.
So it's not that you didn't have a promise, you gave up on your promise.
Yeah.
And just like he did with Saul, I anointed you to be king, Saul, but somewhere along the line, you fell in love with your voice and lost my vision. So I got to take it from you and give it to one that's after my own heart. So my promise don't stop. I just had to switch partners because you gave up on me. See, that's why we can't give up. And the last thing you want to do is not see this the way God sees it. And then you look up a year or two down the line, somebody got a Preacher Man podcast and killing it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because God said, no, I was training you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just getting you comfortable.
Yep.
Because I showed you what it's going to be. That's why you spend all this money on these mics and computers, because you see something.
Yeah.
Don't give up on me.
See, and that's the thing, like, man.
Like a Selah moment.
Selah. Just let it breathe. Nah, it's, man, that's, that's powerful. But I'm learning myself just how to, you listen for certain things. You not only listen, then you try to act on it.
Yeah.
But then they may not make no type of sense to you in this present time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In this present moment, it's just like, why am I doing this? But also I've learned too, like nothing is wasted.
Right.
As far as like with you growing up in rap and music, it's like you still using it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you didn't use it like you thought
Right.
you was going to use it, but nothing is wasted.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so me doing this and having to learn certain editing and stuff of that nature, like I don't see it in this present moment as far as like, why am I trying to learn these skills or doing something like that? But you can just trust and know, like nothing will be wasted.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, but you don't have to understand, but that's why it's a faith walk, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's a faith walk. Like if you knew what you was going to do way down the line, or 5 or 10 or 20 years down the line, it wouldn't be a faith walk.
It wouldn't be. And just think about this, man. Think about, and that's what I look at stuff in the Bible. The Bible says if everything Jesus would have done would have been written down, there'd not enough books in the whole world.
Yep.
To, Can you imagine what Mary had seen to be able to come say, Jesus, they ran out of wine. Watch this, y'all.
Right. She done seen, experienced.
She saw some stuff in him he hadn't even seen in himself. Because if he was thinking, he would have been like, all right, oh, they out of wine, come here. No, he was just chilling. But Mary was like, I done seen what that boy can. Y'all, what? Ooh, where my son at?
Right. Jesus.
Right.
Where you
and
at?
so whatever he experienced up to that point was training him for that moment. And like you said, God doesn't waste anything.
Yeah.
Like even now, when we got ready to do this influence production that we're doing, and Titan came to me and said, I want to do it. And he did it at the church, and it was cool. And his sister had wrote all the pieces and everything. And then he came, he was like, man, I want to do it again. And I said, do you trust me to rewrite some parts? And he was like, sure. And so I kind of rewrote the opening, and then his sister trusted me enough to say, rewrite whatever you want to rewrite. I rewrote the whole thing and made it into an actual hip opera. Well, we did the rap in the middle of it. So I'm the principal. I come in flowing, coming through the classroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but when they trusted me to do it, then my thoughts started kicking in. I said, we got to get this in the school system. So next thing you know, I used some connections that I had. They had me come speak for Young Dolph Day. It went well. Moved the kids. They invited me out to another thing with the so-called baddest kids in the school. I killed the room. It was like, it was dead when I was done.
Yeah.
And they came and said, well, we got to do something with you. What else you do? I said, I got this hip opera.
Yeah.
They rented out the Hollering Theater. Brought in 400 kids from around the city. We killed it. City councilman was there. County commissioners was there. School board members was there. And it encompassed everything God had been doing in me over the last 40 years. It was easy for me.
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we don't know what the Bible says. Oh, this the one. We ain't got to talk all day. I might end with this.
Like, oh, yeah.
The Bible says, it is not yet known what we shall become, but we know that when Christ appears, we shall be like him. What is that saying? You don't even know what's in you. But when God shows up in the moment, people going to think it's you. They going to think you did it. And now they saying, oh man, you rewrote this play. No, God did that. See, when he show up, we shall be like him. Only thing he requires of us is to give him the glory. Don't you take my glory? He said, the only reason I'm telling you to give me the glory is because you can't handle it. You're going to get full of yourself.
Yep.
You better give me the glory.
Yep.
That's too heavy for you.
Yep.
I'll let you have all the accomplished. I'll let you have all the accolades. You better give me the glory.
We're not meant to carry it.
Yeah.
We're not meant to take it like that.
That thing heavy, man. We ain't got the shoulders for that.
Right. Now, because sometimes when people be like, hey, man, you did that or whatever like that, it's kind of a cliche, like, break it, like, before, because at first I was like, nah, dog, like, you did that. Like, you get your, you know what I'm saying? But depending on who you are, like, you do need to be like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Remind yourself. It maybe not even be for them, other person. It may be just even for yourself. Like, nah, bro, like, nah, God did this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can, even me, my wife said I'm too confident sometimes with something like so. You can get full of yourself and just be like, nah, man, say God did this, dog. I can't take no credit for it.
And you trust that he'll do it again.
Yeah. Yep.
If you admit that he did it, you'll trust that he could do it again. And so now when you go into new rooms, you're not afraid. Because what he say? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Why? Thou art with me.
Yep.
You with me.
Yep.
And so now I'm not afraid of new opportunities, new ideas. I'm not afraid of failing. Why? Because thou art with
You
me.
with me?
I can survive a failure. I can survive an attack. I can survive an embarrassment. Why? Because thou art with me. And that's the confidence David had. David was like, who is this uncircumcised? David, how you so confident that you can beat this giant? That man was with me when I was on the field. You didn't see the bear. You didn't see the lion. I know what he can do, so this ain't about nothing. Who is dude? Y'all scared. I hate it. He with me.
Yeah. That's bro. Like I'm going back to listen to this myself. You doing this because you fired me up, and now I see, the type of the men that you hang around, even with with Irk and stuff like that. Really go getters. They do a lot. They think about something, they go do it. He got the Bluff City Express with the basketball, helping the community, doing the stuff of that nature, bro. Like it's amazing how all that kind of even come together. Because like I said, I told you before, so I don't know you, but then I knew the type of dudes you hung around and stuff like that. And so now hearing you talk and seeing like that, be like, okay, now I see how why they, because not only like they vouch for you. They like anything that you. It's a different. Like I was arguing with somebody the other day about the Memphis Tigers. You know what I'm saying about people like, oh, they don't respect Penny and stuff like that. No, I said they respect him. They ain't got no loyalty for him. Because to me, it's a difference between respect and loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Like you can respect somebody and what they bring to the table, their influence, their achievements. But loyalty, you'll run through a wall for them.
That's right.
Whatever they say, you gonna do.
That's right.
I don't understand it, but since you said it, I'm gonna do it.
That's right.
And that's what I think. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, man. When I look at stuff of that nature, like you have loyalists, with you. What it seems like for me from the outside looking in, and so. Because that's what you need. Because it's like whatever I'll say. Pastor Monger said this. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I don't know why. I maybe don't get it. I maybe don't feel it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I trust the God in him so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do, what I need to do regardless.
And I trust them the same.
Man, let's all right. Let's get into now. You have a marriage conference coming up.
Have a marriage conference
Correct?
coming up, yeah. And how that came about was it was so awesome, man. Me and my wife almost went through a divorce, and man, when God turned that thing around, it was better than I ever dreamed. I used to say I want to see a miracle God, an undeniable miracle God in my lifetime. She is my miracle, because our marriage was over, man. Our marriage was over, and I was speaking at an event in Rome, Georgia, because when I worked at International Paper, my job was to get people to use new technology when it came out. And so I'm speaking at the place, and you got people from England, France, categories, Europe, just in there, and I'm killing it. I'm in the room, I'm killing it. You know when you get that moment where you got the room captivated.
Yeah.
And so after it's over, the IT manager comes up and he says, man, some of these people, it's hard to talk to them one-on-one, and you have the whole room captivated. And I heard God say, you can talk to all these people, and you can't even talk to your wife. And I was convicted, man. I was convicted. And I went back to my hotel room, and I told my wife, I called her. I said, man, we got these kids. I know we about to get a divorce. I said, but can you do me a favor? Can I learn how to be your friend? And that changed everything.
Yeah.
And so when I got back to town, we sat down and we had lunch and we was talking because we just wanted to co-parent well.
Right.
And while we were sitting there with the kids, I looked up and I was like, you are beautiful. And she almost started crying. I was like, what? She said, you've never said that before? And it hit me. I was so driven that I had spent so much time trying to make her what I think she should be that I never took time to appreciate who she was. That little small thing almost ruined our marriage. And so ever since then, we started teaching, relationship classes about all kind of situations. And it hit her one day. She said, all these other people marching for stuff. You got the LGBT community marching. You got all these people. How about we do a march for marriage? And we just band together, husbands and wives, and put on a display of what healthy love looked like. It don't mean it perfect. It don't mean you get everything right, but you willing to stand for love. If we stand for love, don't you think God will stand for us? I say, you ain't got to say nothing else. And she said that she saw God put on her heart that Dr. Stacy Spencer, Pastor Spencer, should be a part of it. And I've seen him, but we didn't know each other. So, but I hit him up.
Yeah.
And when I hit him up, we had lunch with him and his wife, and bruh, a bond was built. That's my dude. I mean, just over a few weeks, it's like we needed each other. We met each other at the right moment. So they partnered with us, man. March 16th, we're doing a march on marriage. We just want to put love on display. And we're going to do a huge vow renewal. And it's not about just a recommitment to each other. It's a recommitment to represent God. With your social media page, man, celebrate your wife, celebrate your kid. Put the black family back in the forefront, because we know that family is the foundation of community. Yeah. Let's start that process with a march on marriage. So we doing it down there at Tom Lee Park, man, March 16th.
Yeah, I've been married 10 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, like that's the thing. Even I was talking to somebody, we got 4 kids, and so we pretty much had a kid every year, 2015 to 2019, 4 kids in 4 years. You know what I mean? As far as with my 8-year-old, not 6-year-old, then we got the twins that are 4.
Yeah.
And then we had a miscarriage in between one of those and stuff of that nature. And so it's it's been a strain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In some instances and stuff of that nature. But like, dude, hearing you saying what you saying about you being close to divorce and or right there at divorce for what it sounds like.
We were 1 court date away from divorce.
1 court date, okay. And you were right there. And so what changed that around?
Yeah, man, the revelation. And I wrote a book called Born Not to Know, and this is the analogy God gave me, because it's called Born Not to Know, but the subtitle is My Personal Memoirs of How I Almost Lost My Marriage to Ministry. Everybody respected the pastor, but they wasn't giving my wife the respect she deserved. Everybody was celebrating, oh, he writing plays, he writing books, he doing this and he doing that. And all of this, I'm out there. It's one chapter I wrote called Baywatch. You ever watched the show?
Baywatch? Yeah.
I call it BAE, Baywatch.
Yeah.
And in that chapter, I talk about how I was so busy showing off my strokes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize my wife was drowning. I was moving too fast. I hadn't shared my vision. I haven't showed her where she fit in it. I hadn't made her confidence that I can't do this without her. I'm just running 100 miles an hour and never included her in the process.
Yeah.
And that was my revelation, man. I had to stop and show her place in the vision, or the vision wasn't going to work.
Man, you see, it's different when somebody has like marriage, it's a lot of marriage conferences and stuff like that, but then you don't know if somebody's actually been through it to actually, give some type of good wisdom or advice to actually be like, look, bro, like, I get it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so this is kind of what we went through.
Yep.
And so that's why when I was telling you before on camera, just like having those type of conversations or having conferences like y'all are, going to be having to where it, you don't, a lot of people don't talk about that, especially in church.
Yeah.
Or in churches, you know what I mean? It's almost like, hey, we don't want to touch that. You just need to, push through whatever, and whatever.
Praise
like,
your way through.
Praise your way through or something.
It was over. Our marriage was over. It was done. We went 2 different houses. It was over. God showed me. And what little did I know, while he was working on me, he was on the other side of town working on her. And when I tell you, she is my best friend now. And that's a lot for me to say because I lived up under the premise, your wife ain't your best friend. You better get you some friends. You can't spend a... She's
Right.
it. She my teammate. She my partner. And it took that near disaster
Yeah.
for me to see what God sent me. It was done. It was over. If the attorney would have called and said your court date is here, it would have been over. But you know what was crazy? The attorney never called back. Never called back.
Never call.
Never called. We had already went to court. We had already worked on who was going to pay what, who was going to do what. And all we had to do was show up in court and say, yes, it's over. And that court date never came.
Boy. Yeah, like I do want to ask you this, since you kind of you already here with that, like, because I was one of those to say that as far as your friend, being your friend, and you know what I mean, like she ain't got to be my best friend, or you know what I mean, like you got to have others and stuff. Like, can you expound on that? It's a little bit more if you can, just because. Like, I'll tell you my view of it. Like, I'm 8 years older than my wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
See, so it's like we were there, but I don't. We started dating, getting to know each other. I think that's what you kind of call friendship, but then it's also entwined with romantically. Mm-hmm. So it's not really like, you know what I'm saying, like you kicking it with your homies or something like that. It's always an interest in there. So to me, it's kind of like it's a friendship, but then it's also like it's more romantic in that vein. But you didn't really get down in the gritty with the friendship. Because to me, friendship is like years and years of, you don't have your representative no more in the dating phase. Because in the dating phase, usually you get your representator like for the first, well, it depends who it is, maybe the first year or two.
Yeah,
first
sometime longer than
yeah,
that. Yeah,
exactly. Maybe the first 2 years or something, like 2-3 years or something like that. And so now you're dating to, like, I don't want to do this. Some women, I ain't gonna fart around my man to maybe 6 months to a year. You know what I mean? So now it's like the friendship is maybe lacking to the degree of what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't say right now my wife is my best friend. Right. You know what I'm saying? I would like to get there. You know what I mean? But it's like, just being open and honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get there to that degree, being a man or leading, in that direction?
For us, and of course, everybody has a different route, but I just give a little insight. That word in the Bible said when they was in the garden, they were naked and unashamed. Mm-hmm. I don't think we really dug into what that means. That means they were safe. Mm-hmm. All of my flaws, you know them, and you love me anyway. I don't even know how to operate in this garden, but you love me anyway. I don't even really know if I can obey the rules, but you love me anyway. We become friends when there's no pressure and no judgment. I got to be able to tell you my deepest fantasies in the bedroom, even if we ain't ready to perform them. Mm-hmm. I had to tell my wife, I know you know me now, and I'm trying to be the best man I can be. But you married a freak. You did. I had to tell her. And so I'm trying to adjust to who we are. I done been in some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
But you can't judge me for it. That's the man you married. And so sometimes I might act in some ways that reflect who I used to be and where I was. I need you to help me. Teach me how to be with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm open to hear it. But I'm hoping that you're wanting to grow as well.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's me and you. Above my boys, above my partner, above my job. But that comes with naked and unashamed. That comes with a safe space. It ain't about how much money I make. It ain't about if I can pay the next bill. I need to know that this is a safe place to come say, baby, I'm scared. And you don't judge me.
Now, also, okay, that's good. Basically being vulnerable,
Vulnerable.
transparent, open,
Yes.
open and honest.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
As flawed as I am, this who you married.
Yeah.
And see, and once I trust you in that space, the two are now becoming one. Becoming one is not a one-time thing. You didn't become one at the altar.
Oh,
You did. It's a process.
yeah.
Just like I'm sure when you got this house,
Yeah.
you tripped up the steps, or when the lights was out,
sure.
you bumped into stuff.
Because you don't know.
But over time, this your house now. You could probably walk down them steps with the lights off.
Yep.
You ain't even got to count the steps. You just know how many there.
Yep.
That's how marriage is. Over time, you don't know the day that you became totally comfortable with this house, but it happened.
Right.
The same way with your spouse. We don't know the day that safe place is created. But if we'll go ahead and be vulnerable and give each other permission to succeed, to fail, to try, to no judgment, no pressure. I'm not comparing you to any other man. I'm not comparing you to any other woman. Whatever we are, we are.
Now it sounds like with that, it needs to come with some tough skin as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I have learned that my wife's skin is tougher than mine.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, seriously, I ain't want to hear that.
Right.
but I was causing her to hide a piece of her trauma. She had some childhood trauma that she had to feel safe enough to share with me, to trust that I will walk through her trauma with her. Safety heals. You know, when you go into the hospital, they don't just treat the wounds, they treat what you've been through to get the wound. You got to be able to trust that this doctor not about to stab you again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but that comes over time. And I can tell you that after 5 years and our marriage almost ended, by year 7, we figured it out.
Yeah.
We figured, and hold on. We're still figuring it out.
For sure.
But we're closer.
Yeah.
We have agreed to become one. She has to be my best friend. Because if I can't tell her, who I'm going to tell?
Right.
You know? And then and if you judge me for telling you, you know I'm not going to tell you again, right?
Right. Right. That's the part. Yeah. That's the part as far as, because I was telling, like, kind of even off camera, like sometimes I can be too blunt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and giving men, and so, you know, you have to know how to say certain things sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, sometimes, bro, it's just like, look, man, this is how I feel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is how I feel. Yeah. It's not the perfect way to say it, but, you know, you want to try to create a good enough space, a safe space, you know what I'm saying? So I could be able to say that, like, I mean well. Right. I might have said it, you know, a little different. I'm learning within that, but you having a space to actually say it, like, this is just how I feel, is probably not right. I probably, you know what I'm saying, shouldn't feel this way, but this is how I feel.
Yeah, and I'm a music dude, man, and 2 songs I challenge you and your wife to listen to.
Hit me.
Music Soul Child, Teach Me How to Love.
Yep, I like that one.
Listen to the words, though. You and your wife, listen to the words with each other. 2nd song, Eric Benet, chocolate legs.
Chocolate leg. Okay, I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
Listen to it with your wife.
Man said chocolate legs.
Yeah, it's I'm a music person, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how I help my wife understand me. We'll listen to songs together, and it may work, but it helped her understand. I need the spiritual healing that marriage offers, cause I'm a dreamer. I'm finna get bumped. I'm finna get judged.
Yeah.
I'm finna experience some failures. But with you, I need you to help heal my spirit and push me back out there in this fight. That's why I need you. And so you guys, or any marriage, will have to find, what does my marriage need to heal us? That this is our hospital. This is where we heal. Cause I can't get stabbed out there and get stabbed in here. I'm gonna die.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just a lot, ain't it?
Yeah. But it's good though. It's good though. That's those are the type of conversations and stuff, you know what I mean, that I think is needed to have, or to even put out the information you just did about, you know what I mean. I know it's more and more to the story, and details and stuff of that nature. But just the practical nature of doing certain things, you know what I'm saying, especially in a marriage, because even I'm learning, like, I'm a quote unquote man's man and stuff of that nature. So now I have to try to pull that down
Right.
a little bit more than I was used to in year one, and now we're going into year 11 and stuff now. And so now, and she's been changing, and so now I had an issue with her changing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why you ain't the same as when we first, I have to be able, to hold space for her to change and to do certain things. And so it's like I'm learning, through the process and stuff. And so, and I never was a lover of therapy or anything of the counseling, anything like that. But now I've grown out of that. You know what I'm saying? As far as I see the benefit of it, I see what it can do. I see that it can reach deep back into like your childhood and do stuff of that nature, to where now it's like,
That's what most of the damage was.
Right.
Yeah, and the last thing we want to do is to become an expert at giving our wife what they used to need. That's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah.
Because we can mess around and be like, I thought you liked these chocolate. That was 5 years ago. I like gummy worms now.
Right.
And you don't know when it happened.
Yeah. Dog. You preach. Look, sure, we may be coming to that conference with y'all doing that. We need to do that march and do that walk, man. Just because it's like, and that's what I tell a couple of my homies, just, that some of them not quite married and stuff yet. And so, I give them the good, bad, and the ugly. I don't want them to, have this big fairy tale or something like that. But then also to tell them that, like, dog, it's work.
Yeah, and that's why we started doing, we call our relationship sessions Baywatch. And I tell all the men, the reason we're coming here is so we can lick our wounds together. You ain't the only one going through that with your wife. Me too. You too, man. Yeah, me too, man. Man,
Right, what?
Man, yeah, come on.
You like,
okay,
what?
well, come on, break. Let's go fight.
Right. Yeah.
We need to know that me and my wife, we have a beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
But I still get wounded.
Yeah.
And I need to go talk to some other men and say, hey, man, ain't you limping? Yeah, I'm limping too, man. All right, well, let's go here. Let's put some Bengay on and let's get back in this game.
Yeah.
We need that, man, because we draw strength from each other. People have misused what the Bible says, forsake not the fellowship of the believers. That has very little to do with a church building. Mm-hmm. I need to be around some people that believe what I believe.
Man.
I need some people in the locker room that believe we can win.
Right.
I need to be some people who understand, who got blindsided like I got blindsided, and say, hey, man, here's what I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fellowship of the believers is about people who are believing for the same thing so we can draw strength from each other. It ain't just a church building.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So we might have to do a part 2.
Yeah, this definitely, I definitely can go, different ways with this, but bro, like, I appreciate you for giving me your time, your energy, and even, your family, the daughters outside in the room out there just chilling out, bro. And,
They said they're probably dad and not talking again.
Right, they hear you. And like, I done heard this before. Like, but that was me. Like, that was me growing up with my dad and going, you staying after church and, you know what I'm saying, you spending an hour after church because they talking to somebody else and doing, like, I was that kid. And so now I'm that dad now, too. My wife got to get me, like, we got to go. Right. People stop and talk to me, you know what I mean? So it's not like it's coming back full circle. Like, I'm that dude now. But yeah, man, I appreciate your time. Like, pretty much everything that I thought that you were, you exceeded my expectation.
Man, I appreciate that,
what I'm saying? And so it's like, I definitely want to keep in contact, keep in touch. Yeah, man, we'll be on. Because like I said, we still want you on our Prez X joint.
Yes, sir.
With me and my boy Rex. So we'll have to get with that at some point soon. But yeah, I appreciate you. You gave a lot to chew on, not only for the listeners and whoever's watching this right now, but also just even for myself to, because that's pretty much what I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of other stuff, and I just like listen and let it sink in and really kind of you try to do some self-reflecting a little bit to see what is what. But yeah, man. But yeah, y'all go ahead and his marriage conference. This is be out, I'm sure, before his marriage. His marriage conference is when?
March 16th. We're going to
16th.
start at Martyrs Park at 9 a.m. and it's going to end at Tom Lee Park. We're going to have the tables out there. We got we didn't bring wine because the Save folk might get us. We brought grape juice, and we're gonna have some live entertainment. Yeah,
okay.
Some live entertainment out there and everything. And we're just gonna make it a day of love, man. The news station's gonna be out there. It's gonna be a pretty big deal, man.
Dope. So y'all heard it here, man. This guy is he's that guy. he's him. He's what social media says he is.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and I gotta actually see. I still need to go check out the play in person, man.
Yeah, we're doing it at Memphis Business Academy this Friday, but it might be after this.
Yeah. But okay. I definitely gotta check that out, man. Y'all, until next time, y'all, we will holla, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.